you just know how we do it lately. It just God has really been blessing us. And I'm telling you tonight, it's just we just gonna keep on. We're gonna keep on. We're gonna go take it to the next level and talk about some real issues. And just remember, write this down. If you tuned in right now, write this number down: 614-577-1464. Again, 614-577-1464. Also, if you feel like, you know what, I don't want to call in, but I'd rather text a question or comment, go dial 614-377-4592. Now, listen, I got to my left again, my sister, Real Rika. Her name is Real Rika. So you see her on the streets, it's Real Rika. Uh, you know, give him a shot real quick, Rika. What's going on?
Hey everybody. Hey, I hope everybody's having a good week so far. And I'm waiting to see what we're gonna talk about tonight. I'm excited.
Look at this. And you know how we gotta roll. We gotta go all the way to New York City with my boy. I don't know if you're in the Bronx right now or you're in Brooklyn, but we got Maurice Good on the line.
Hey, folks, I'm just glad to be back. I thank God for blessing this ministry of Leave No Father Behind. This movement is growing, and that's it. We're doing it.
Wow. And Mo, I just pretty much spent most of this week. Really, we were together since Tuesday, if you count and holla at me. So just can you just tell the people real quick, just kind of about the experience in terms of just kind of how we connected down there with the young people and things of that nature, and what things they took from our conversations.
Wow, man, last week was such a blessing in so many different ways. We started off that morning with our morning ritual, which is the young people just saying what they're thankful for, what they appreciate, and so it started there, and then from there we just jumped straight into what we do, and having that open dialogue. And the young people, they just jumped straight in. They felt your energy. They knew that they could trust you just based off your energy, and they just dived in. And they, when they left, they were glowing. You could just see the glow, like something that had been troubling them was lifted. It's like, wow, first off, I'm not by myself. So that within itself makes me feel empowered, number one. Number two, I actually have power over this.
Wow.
Not powerless, and that's what I got from the session, is that you had young people who actually left that room and said, you know what, I have power over this. I don't have to be the victim to my circumstance. I can actually empower myself and empower others as a result of my situation.
Wow. Man, that's why I asked you to talk about it, because I wouldn't have been able to do that good. Tonight, listen, we talking about Papa is a Rolling Stone. And we know how it is out there. People, decide to have, sex. I was looking at some videos. Ayanna Vazant, she was actually talking about an issue. I can't remember verbatim, but it was a guy that I think he had about 27 women and 27 children, and I think 17 women.
Mm-hmm.
And to him, when I read some of his response, I'm just verbatim. I'm not quoting verbatim. He's kind of paraphrasing, but he said it was just all about sex. He wasn't trying to be in a committed situation. One guy, he said it was all about sex, and he just just wanted to just have sex, period. He wasn't trying to, like the other guy, not trying to be a committed relationship, but he didn't think that kids were going come from this. And maybe more men think like that. Hey, I just want to go ahead and do this thing, and and hope for the best. But then what happens when a child comes into this world, and then you don't look back? See that's where it gets tricky.
Mm-hmm.
Is when, okay, I don't really have an intellectual connection with this sister. We don't have anything in common. We're not trying to, be in a committed relationship. She agrees. Come on, women. Come on, women.
Mm.
This ain't all about the guys. Because
Right.
you can say no.
Yeah.
Come on. You got the right to say no. And if he keep going, then your next word should be rape. So here's my question, and we're gonna go, Rika, because I don't know. I'm not a woman. I never will be, and I never want to be. I have no desires. I like me the way I am.
Gracious.
But why do women? And maybe you can't answer this, but I'm gonna give it a shot. Why when women? They know this guy's not trying to be in a committed relationship, but they still give it to him anyway. Has sex become recreation? Okay.
Well, that's $1 million question. I mean, I just feel like there's different types of, like, where women come from. It just depends on what situation they've come out of or what they've never had. So it's some of us, like me, myself, I grew up in an abusive situation. So getting older, when it was time for me to find somebody, and finding that person on the surface, that was cool. But behind closed doors, I got the same attention that my mom got. And the thing about it was, that was what I was conditioned thinking, that's what love was, because she didn't leave immediately. She left. I mean, she endured it for years and years on. And it was like, it's like if your dad was a basketball player and you grew up wanting to play basketball. Same concept. But we just didn't know that it just wasn't right, because the police didn't come in. Like, there was never a time where he was told that he was wrong, or family didn't come down on him, or nobody come up and show up trying to beat down the door or nothing. So it was like, it was regular. It was normal. That was what it was. That's what you endured in a relationship. So in that time, for me personally, came self-esteem problems. And when self-esteem comes into play, like, I didn't know how to welcome a good man or a bad man into my life. Like, it was just whatever I got, I felt like that's what I deserved at the time. And it wasn't until I got into my second relationship that I realized that, wait a minute, I had to hold on tight to my mind, myself. Like, through this whole process, everything I was going through, I had to maintain my sanity and all of that, or I would have lost myself and just allow for it to succumb me. And I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now today on the radio station having this conversation, or even met up with him, my brother. So, I mean, I don't know. Once again, that's one of the questions that's like, it would be a different question coming from every different woman. But also, some of us women, we feel like we can change them. You being in a relationship with a man, you feel like, well, I'm in this relationship with him and we trying to break this cycle of this or that, whatever's going on with the guys, and we need them to understand. So it's like we raising our own kids. But we want them to become the man that we want them to become. But at the same time, I don't think we really completely understand that it's not, we can't make a man into a man. The man has to be ready to want to be that man, and hope that, during that process of him wanting to be that man, like, he's truly being honest to himself to just do manly things. And, like, a man is just not some dude that's just going to go and cheat, or a man is not some dude who just going to be in a relationship with a woman with some kids and not want to help, or just whatever. So that's like, it's about 10, 20 other things that I want to say behind that.
I mean, you said some things, and I know, Mo, I know you bubbling. You said two things that caught my attention. Number one, self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
Self-esteem. And then I forgot the second one, but it was women feel like they can change the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, remember, this is a Christian talk show, so so I do believe in sex before marriage. I mean that's right. That's only right. I believe it. No, I don't believe in sex before marriage. I believe in sex after marriage. Hey, God about to strike me down. I said I believe. You know what? You know my coffee ain't kicked in yet.
Girl, you say like
no sex after marriage. Sex is intended for marriage. That's my belief. And God made Adam and Eve, and God made man for woman. And so for me, when I look at this, many women see mama go through some stuff. That becomes the paradigm.
mm-hmm.
Okay, Ma, I know you're right. I had to clarify myself because my coffee ain't kicked in yet.
It's all good, good brother. And I'm listening to Rika, and I'm like, wow, she hit on so many different points. Now, she came from the perspective of the woman. I'm going to come from the perspective of a retired womanizer. Yeah, let that sink in for you.
Okay.
So, as a retired womanizer, for me, it was about game, right? And so you look for these women, right? You look for these women who want to be seen, right? They're looking, they're yearning, they're craving attention. They, I hate to say the daddy issues. However, that's along the line of what happened. And there are a certain group of males. If you notice, I didn't say men, I said males. And this is something that I've been promoting is the 3 steps, which is the first step is the grown boy. The grown boy is the person who does not want to take on any responsibility at all. He doesn't want responsibility, nor does he want to be held accountable for his actions. That's the grown boy. He doesn't want responsibility. He has no intention of being held accountable. The adult male is the person that he's going to take on some responsibility, but that responsibility is going to be self-serving. If it doesn't benefit him, then he's not going to take on that responsibility. And he's only going to be held accountable for what doesn't make him feel uncomfortable. So, yeah, I'll own up to some things if it's no big deal. If it doesn't make me come out of my comfort zone, then I'll accept that accountability. But if it's going to force me to come out of my comfort zone, I don't want no parts of it, nor do I want any responsibility where I have to feel tied to him. So that's the adult male. And then you have the man. The man is the person who embraces the responsibility of raising his children, raising his family, raising the community. He embraces the concept of adding value to his people and to humanity overall. He understands that his actions will either add value or devalue his family, his community, and humanity as a whole. So he understands those things and those philosophies, and he embraces it. He doesn't run from it, he runs to it. That's the man, right? And so that's the one who is going to raise the grown boy or the adult male. That man is going to raise their children, because the grown boy is going to disappear. The adult male is the one who come around, send a few dollars, if that, right? And then the man is the one who's going to raise somebody else's children. See, those are the 3 concepts. And what has happened is that you've had women who've been too quick to give these grown boys and these adult males, to give them the title of man. He's not a man. Give him the title he's earned. And see, part of the problem has been for women is that you see potential, and so you go off of the potential. Let him blossom, let him grow into his grown man shoes. Don't let him still wear grown boy shoes, but yet you're giving him the perks and the benefits of being a man. Let him earn man status.
Wow, this is interesting. I mean,
Okay.
so this is I like the three. I like the, yeah, I like that. You know, and somebody may be saying, okay, what does this have to do with Papa's a Rolling Stone? Well, in order to address the issue, we gotta find the root.
Mhm.
We gotta find the root. So whether you were on the woman's side in terms of low self-esteem, loneliness, guilt, just depressed, all kind of different elements will, that I'm not a woman, but I just know some guys, it's a saying that guys prey on the weak. And trust me, a brother can smell a woman a mile away if she's lonely. You're gonna show it. You just got this look like I'm lonely over here. I'm lonely,
That's right.
and he's like, oh yeah, I can get that, and then he don't have to work hard. So now, boom, he got you one committed. He has a main squeeze somewhere, but then at the same time, now you hurt because he left. And one of the things that happen to people, they get out of relationships, then they jump into another relationship and they don't heal first.
Right.
That's right.
That's one of the my big things is people been in relationships that was horrible or didn't work, and then they jump right into another relationship like they wouldn't just hurt. I'm like, didn't that hurt? You know, like come on, like do you think he gonna save you?
But Mike, you know what it is? The question really is, does the hurt outweigh the loneliness? Because that's what it boils down to. Would I rather be lonely,
Wow.
right? And would I rather be lonely, or would I rather subject myself to additional pain, right? And so, just my work with a lot of sisters, sisters, if you look, and I had this conversation with a sister the other night. I said, look at some of your pictures on your Facebook page, right? And when you have a man, you have these sisters that they take pictures with their males, right? And in the picture, that big old smile that she has on her face, that Kool-Aid smile, isn't so much. It says, "I have a man.
Mm-hmm.
Happy to have a man." But really, what she's saying is, "I'm happy to have some steady sex in my life.
Wow, I got a trophy.
I got a trophy." And if you look at him, right? If you look beyond his posture, if you look at his face,
Look
you look
beyond
in
his
his
posture.
eyes, he got that look like, hurry up and take the picture because I don't want my other women to see this.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Total disconnect. There's a total disconnect. And then that relationship, if you want to call it that, flames out. And then she goes back to those pictures where she's sad looking, or she's putting up those memes on Facebook that says, that why is it that the B words always get the good man, and I can be miserable by myself, and blah blah blah, until the next guy come along, and then she's happy to take that "I have a man" smile again.
Yeah, and there's a guy always lurking,
Oh yeah.
seeking whom he may devour. You're exactly right. I see a lot those pictures every day. Or 1 minute they real happy. I got a man in my life. He's talking about getting married to me. Like he's the one. Look at him. Look at his smile. Ain't he cute? Then boom, they break up, and now she's on Facebook or social media venting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of this. I'm tired. Like your boy off of what's it called? A Boys in the Hood. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. And just mad. And now your kids got paid for it if you have children.
That's right.
Well, some of them just don't care anymore. So once they get to that point, like what he's saying, once they dive into that and they get to that point where it's been exposed, and maybe they see the real them, the guy or dude, whoever they with, when they start seeing that, and then they're not getting attention or the pictures, don't nobody know that they exist and all of that. When they do break up, they're so bitter about themselves and their situation where they came from, they just don't care. Like I know women now who like pretty much are either with women because they just don't care, or they're just out here just sleeping with all kind of men because they don't even want a relationship no more. Now they're looking down at the relationship because the relationship that the relationships they've been in, their history, their track record, they're like, I ain't going through this no more.
Wow, wow. We got somebody calling in. Holla at me. Yo.
Hello?
Yes, we here.
Oh, okay.
Who am I talking to?
This is Latoya Phil.
Okay, how you doing?
I'm doing well, doing well. I'm on the live show.
Yes, ma'am. You're on a live show. Like you can watch me on YouTube right now. I'm looking at you.
Oh, yeah, I was on YouTube. I mean, I was looking at you guys about 5 minutes ago, and I had to come in here.
Okay. What's on your heart?
I don't know. It was just I had posted a comment on Facebook, and then someone asked me to call in on, I think, to give my point of view.
Okay. So what's your point of view?
My point of view is like how I feel about it. How I feel about it is a generational curse cycle. And I don't know like where it began, but I do know that it's been going on for a very long time, years and years and years. And I think the issue with the type of people that I know or the Black community is sometimes they don't really look at it as a big issue. They just look at it as a way of life. And so they get used to it and they kind of adjust like that. And so that's how it became over and over and over again, because it wasn't an issue, it was a way of life. And the Papa Rolling Stones, as far as the baby dads and the different baby moms and all of that kind of stuff, now the females, they kind of compete with each other for that. They call it the side chick, and they call it, the baby's mom, or I'm the wifey, and you're this and that. So now they kind of look at it like that's cool. That's cool to have a guy that go over here on Wednesday and a guy over here on Thursday the same way.
So what you saying? Some women is saying, I'm gonna take what I can get.
Yeah.
I'd rather be half full than full.
Yep. And then they kind of raise their kids the same way. If they see that coming from mom and dad, then they'll turn around and do the same thing. And a lot of times that's what I'm seeing in my opinion.
Okay, that was powerful. Appreciate you for calling. Do you have a copy of my book?
No.
You don't? Are you in Columbus?
Yes.
You know what? You get a copy today. So you're gonna get a free copy of my book, autographed copy. So it's we'll inbox you for more information. How you can pick it up.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Bye.
Wow. I mean, now we get somewhere. I mean, this is deep. Now watch this. Let me say this. If you want more, you'll get more. What are you saying, Dunlap? All I'm saying is, if you don't settle for less, and please don't take me wrong way, because again, I'm not a woman, and I'm glad. But if you settle for less, then that's what you're gonna get. This guy got another relationship going on. Boom, he in another relationship, and y'all actually are intimate. Both relationships are relationships that have intimacies. I mean, that's intimate. Boom, he have a child by her, really not committed there. Have a child. You see how easy it can happen? Then boom, he's like, I'm done with both of y'all. Then he kind of chill out for a minute, and then boom, get another chick, and the cycle continues. And so, in my humble opinion, I don't know my dad. But I do know it's a lot of us, a lot of children. I mean, what, about 8 or 9 of us or something?
Yeah, 10.
And 10 is 10? Oh, wow, I didn't know that. She just added 2 more. So, and I think, and you and your sisters, and I think we got 2 brothers, younger brothers, that have the same mom, right?
Yep, that's it.
And you and your sisters have the same. mom,
Mhm.
and the rest of us. So it's like 6 or 7 different women. And what this is riddle me this, Batman. When was the last time? I mean, okay, I don't want to say I put the Bible to the side, but have you ever thought about AIDS? Have you ever thought about sexually transmitted diseases? And you just going into my raw? You gotta stop it.
But see, that's on both ends, because that's the
Yeah.
man or the woman to let somebody, or for her to even want to.
Mm.
But even like you were saying, that's just for even the same thing that you were saying about women. Just, is that what you want? Like, are you okay with that? Like, you get what you asked for. Well, they do too. So you go out here, you seeking these hood rats, or you go out here and you think you getting a nice woman, but really she's off the hook. Like she might just be maybe on the outside corporate, or a suit or a skirt on looking cute. But for real, her feelings is hurt. She's bitter. And that's what you ask for when you go in here and you try to think that you go on and doing something. It's already something that's in the ruins. You just adding yourself to the situation, to the circumstance, and blowing it up even more.
Wow.
And I'm going to go even further, because really what you're asking is self-worth versus how he makes me feel.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you're asking me to look, and you're asking me to look internally at my self-worth versus how he makes me feel. Now, he may make me feel better than how I feel about myself. And so, and I can say this because I've had sisters, I'm regurgitating some of the groups that I've had with women, and I've heard that, okay, I have him 3 days a week, but I've had males for 7 days a week who didn't treat me like this man treats me 2 or 3 days a week.
I was actually told something years ago from my kid's dad, that from the girl that I found out that he was messing with. She looked me dead in my face and was like, "I don't care if he was yours." She said, "The point is that he was yours. Now I'm here. I'm here to have his babies." And she did, and she ended up in a worse situation than what I did. And I had to find out through the kid's grandparents that she had went back and said, "I wish I would have listened to her. I wish I would have just been watching what she was going through, because her situation was whew." And it just makes no sense, because it's like people, like, I don't even, like, I'm at a loss for words. Like, I don't want to say territory. It's just a disrespect. It's a dysfunction. And oh, we got a caller.
And so what you have is, it's ingrained. And I'm gonna tell you how deep this stuff is. I was having a conversation with my mom. We're at that place where we can have adult conversation, and so I never met my grandfather. He passed before I was born, and she was raised by her stepmother. And so I'm asking questions about her childhood, and she basically told me that my grandfather was a womanizer. And so I said, wow. And so she's like, yeah, your grandfather, and she said, yeah, your grandfather was a Papa Rolling Stone. He was out there. He was a ladies' man. He was a womanizer. And I said to my mother,
Hi.
We got a caller.
Somebody on?
We have a caller.
Yeah, I'm on.
How you doing? Wow, you've just been listening to us, huh? How you doing? What's your name?
My name is Janelle.
Okay, how you doing, Janelle? What's on your heart?
Well, I go to your church, so I watch the show all the time and stuff like that. So I wanted to call in. Talk about this subject.
I know like 10 Janelles.
Yes, it's Janelle.
Okay. What's going on?
As far as fathers being a Rolling Stone and men being womanizers, I'm kind of going through the same situation at the moment. With my significant other, my husband, and the generations of how it happened, and it seems like it's ceaseless. Like his father didn't love his mother enough to stay there.
to be around and to raise his son. So his son grows up like, why doesn't my dad love me? Why doesn't he love me enough to come see me? Why doesn't he love me enough to take me out? Why doesn't he love enough to show up? Why doesn't he love my mom enough to just, not just be there for the night and then get up in the morning and leave her for days and days and days at a time? And then it pours over into his marriage. And it pours over into my sons, And it's like, how do you stop that cycle? How do you end that as a man? How do you say, you know what, this is going to be the last generation of this? Because it's so ingrained in our society from slavery on down. It has been ingrained in our society for men to leave the homes. After you've had all of these children, after you've, sown these seeds, now you're not here to help them nurture and grow.
Well, let me give you something to think about. And I know we got other listeners out there. I mean, now we're talking relationship one-on-one, healthy relationships. Many people get committed before it's committed.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people like my wife and I, before we got married, we were friends.
Mm-hmm.
We hung out, we laughed, we chilled. Then, a lot of people, they just they're not friends long enough, in my opinion. They don't get to know each other. And in my opinion, you can figure some of that out along the way. And I think people see certain things, but they don't address it. Mm-hmm. So they may see a tendency or something that may be wrong, but they don't address it and have a conversation around it to see if it's something that we can fix now, or is it even something that's fixable. And so what happens is all of those different things that you let slide up, that people let sweep under the rug, it becomes a bump.
Like to bite you in your butt. Yeah.
Exactly.
I had to say so. I mean, like, me and my husband have known each other since we were 9 years old.
Wow.
We've known each other since we were kids. We went to school, every school together. Now, mind you, we wasn't friends in school. We were mortal enemies. Like, we were the two that were making fun of each other and fighting and bickering. And then, as we got older, I met back up with him when I was about 23. And we started on this journey, and we started dating, and we started talking, and we dated for about 2 years. And in the middle of those 2 years, I paused and, gave my life to Christ. And when I wanted to get that right first, get my spirit right before I gave myself to someone else. And then we got back together and we got married. So it was a different kind of scheme, because not only were we blending families, because I had 2 children of my own and he had a daughter.
Wow, that's a
it was more of an understanding at the first beginning, and that's what weirded it. That was what's so weird at the end. It was like, bro, I thought this is what you wanted.
Right. Wow.
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 So I have a history with this dude. Like, I've known this kid since he was an eraser-headed boy. But to say that we were truly friends, he didn't want me to be his friend. It's like guys guard themselves against women like they're the untrustworthy ones, instead of investing your friendship in a woman because she's loyal.
And I'm going to tell you what made me and my wife good friends. She told me no a lot. This is before I got saved.
Yeah.
Before I got saved, I was trying to, and she'd be like, no. And it made me, she made me work.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I wonder how many women out there listening that didn't make him work.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I feel.
Or yeah, because most men go into it and they try to impress instead of work. I would have to say that too, because he wasn't really. It was like I was so eager to be married because
there we go.
Growing up, it was an embarrassment to have children and not be married.
Okay. Also, so women can have a certain pressure on them. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you felt
out
pressure.
Here in the grocery store with all these kids and no wedding ring on, so at least they can be like, oh, at least you married.
So, and I've seen this in movies where the woman is pressured by mom and them, and then she pressured the man.
Right. And it wasn't more of a pressure. It was more of a mutual agreement with us. When we got together, we really kept it low key. We didn't really tell our parents. We dated for 2 years and we kept it low key. And then we sat together and it was like, you know what? I can see myself growing with you. I can see myself building with you. I can see myself doing great things with you. You have certain parts of you that I need, and there's certain parts of me that you need. So let's do it together.
Now I have a question, just out of curiosity.
Yes, ma'am.
When you did that and you went through that process, like you didn't tell your family or nothing, at what point, like, is there an importance to like bring other people in? Because not so much as they can validate it, but I don't know, you might have, like, I have a brother or I have a cousin, maybe someone can maybe see something that I don't see or identify with something or be like, okay, you sure? You know, is this and how's this going? Like, at what point, you know, like, I mean, I know that that's what you did, but when you made that choice, was it because you didn't want to hear nothing that your family had to say? Like, why was it such a big secret?
No, actually not. I've always been a family girl. I mean, I love my parents and I love my sisters. We're all very close. Like, me and my sisters never lived too far apart from each other. We're very, very close. But at the same time, I looked at history. I looked at the history of my family. I looked at the failed relationships and dysfunctional households in my family, and I said, look, I'm going to let God make this decision for me. And I brought him around my different family. I brought him around my church family. I didn't bring him around my physical family. I brought him around my spiritual family.
Okay.
I didn't even go that route. When he had to ask Neil for my hand, and if Neil would have said no, I would have never married him.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, we got to talk about this off the record because I already see where this is going. But you open up. I think there's a lot of women that needed to hear what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't bring her around my mom. My mom had been through guy. I went to somebody who I knew had been married and had a strong, loving marriage. I went to somebody I went to my church because I had a whole crowd full of married people who had been married for years and was like, they can see certain things that I can't see.
Right. Wow.
And so, and within itself, it's like, you know, I'm not going to bring him around my mom because my mom always tries to find a fault in a man. Why not bring him around somebody that sees the spirit in that man and the truth in that man and the heart of that man?
Wow.
He's here to praise God. He's not here to impress everybody. He's not here to, show my mom he got money so she knows her grandkids and her daughter going to be taken care of because he got men. It wasn't nothing like that. It was more of is this man upright? Is he going to lead you the way you need to be led?
Wow, you kind of cutting out on us, but really appreciate you calling in, and you most definitely gave us some hardcore nuggets to think about. And
yeah.
And I'll see you Sunday.
Awesome.
All right.
All right, now.
All right, bless you, Mo.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. I know you. I already know what you got.
It's one of those things that, as Sister said, it was generational, right? So she had the wherewithal not to bring this gentleman around her mom because she said she already knew what she was going to get from her mom. However, you have a lot of sisters out here who do not have that wherewithal, right? And so part of it is self-sabotage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I've seen a lot of sisters who actually, I don't know how it come about, but I've seen a lot of sisters find good men, but not able to keep the good men.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of similar situations where they take these men or they share their business with people who haven't had productive and fruitful relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they do, they end up with the type of man that never works, the type of male that never works out for them, and so it's like a roller coaster ride. So I'm at the peak, where he treats me really nice. He has me feeling a way that I haven't felt in a very long time. And then after I hit that peak, Now we coming down the slope. And now he made me feel worse than the last time I was at my low point. And now also what we're failing to realize, what we're failing to mention is that when I'm at my low point, guess who's right there? The convenience, our children. So when he makes me feel like I am absolutely nothing, when he makes me feel like that, and my children are right there, my children end up catching the brunt of my feelings, of me feeling like I'm not worthy. I'm questioning myself. And so the slightest little thing, if they knock over a cup of juice, they catching the wrath. So now this 2-year-old becomes a 12-year-old, becomes a 16-year-old, becomes an 18-year-old, a 24-year-old, and now you can't figure out why this 24-year-old has anger issues towards women.
Wow. Wow. That's, whew. You know, this is a tough conversation because we're actually digging a little deeper today. I mean, last week we actually talked about kind of father having multiple children. Now we kind of moved in more of a reverse to try to look at where this started from. I mean, where it came from. There's a lot of different issues that plays a role. And from what I'm gathering now, a lot of it depends on the person's upbringing. So it's environmental, the mindset or the paradigm of that family. In terms of our last caller, certain expectations in terms of marriage and things of that nature. So there's a guilt there. You think about what the first caller said and what Rika said. There's a lot of different things that play in this, and that causes people to settle, whether male or female, to settle and still not be in a relationship that they are fully invested in. And so that it's pretty much a disaster waiting to happen. Any day now, this relationship is going to end. And I know in terms of, and there's a great book out there by Dr. R. Vernon called 10 Rules of Dating. 10 Rules of Dating. If you don't have that book, it is off the chain. Real good book. It's about before you say I do, 10 steps before you get married. And I think a lot of people don't get counseling. If they do get counseling, they go to people that may kind of support their side of things. But I think sometimes you need to be around people that's going to give you the absolute real, and so it's a tough situation. I mean, the sister that just got off the phone, I mean, that was tough. And there's, watching my mom, I can't recall my mom ever even having a conversation about getting married. I can't recall it. My stepdad, they were together for years, almost my entire life. I think they were together since I was about 3 or 4 years old, and off and on for years. And I don't think that was a conversation. I can't recall my mom ever talking about marriage, either him as well. And then when I looked at their peers, I can't even really recall many couples that was married as well. So I think it was environmental. It was, okay, this is cool. I can leave. I can go when I'm well pleased, when I'm kind of tired of you, when, because a lot of men don't like arguments. And if you start arguing with a man, we shut down or we walk away. Or some guys will hit you, because women, y'all can out talk us any day. Y'all can say some stuff that will just make us shrink to a mustard seed. And boom, we just so messed up, like we just walk away. And that we bring that same baggage into another relationship. So you got all these different people that are unhealed, if you will, that have not addressed their pain. And if you don't address your pain, you're gonna carry that hurt into a relationship that could have been something.
Okay.
You know what? You have you have a pot of jambalaya of misery.
Well, you know what, Maurice? I have a question that I have been wanting to ask a little bit ago in the conversation. And it probably might be a question I might ask on another day, just be a different, situation. But when you have sons, or like just a son who's over 18, and he didn't have a relationship with his dad, but he's had these different types of models being in his life, from his mom having a relationship with an abusive man, and then maybe with a man with his own self-esteem and selfish issues or whatever, what have you. But not having that relationship with his dad, but over the course of the years, by not having it with his own father, having it with these two different people that were not good role models, were not good communicators, did not build a relationship with him, didn't teach him values and just all these things. And finally, when he gets to that point, he's ready to go and find his dad. He's ready to have that relationship with his dad. But when he gets into that relationship with his father, it's difficult for the mother to sit back and watch it, because it's a like, now he's looking at his dad, and his dad is still making all these bad decisions. And now that 18-year-old is at his life of trying to figure out which way to go. What's the right way? What's the wrong way? Like, do I want to be like my dad? And he's at that point where he's starting to figure out who he is. So it's like, as a mother, as somebody that he comes to for everything, what is it that you like? How can you help that 18-year-old? Because his dad is still going down the wrong path. Like, literally, like, he's not a dad like, ooh, that's my dad and he's cool. This dad is going down doing some stuff, and his son, is just want to be like his dad. So what do you talk to your son about? Like, what do you do with that? I don't know.
Maurice, I'll let you take this.
my suggestion for mom, right? And a lot of times I like to put myself in my mother's shoes. I show that dual roles, because I caused my mother a lot of pain. I would disappear on Thursday, don't come back in on the Tuesday of the next week, clubbing and selling dope. That was my MO, clubbing and selling dope. And I caused this woman a lot of pain. And it wasn't until later on in life I was able to understand just how much pain I caused her. And so I try to put my feet in her shoes, and try to relate with a lot of moms, as well as also understand what I was going through in the process. And so I would tell any mom that is, the scenario you just placed, what I would say to her is encourage her son to find an outlet, right? I would say, give him a nice journal and encourage him to write out his feelings and let him know that this is his thing. Nobody's going to see it. He can put it wherever he wants, but it's going to be important that he be able to get those feelings out, because he's probably feeling conflicted, right? Because he sees there are some role models. Then he sees some other role models that aren't quite the best role models. And it's a good thing that he has options, because for so many young men, they only see one type of role model. And so they follow that role model all the way to the death chamber, and so it's good that he has opposite role models. But, one, I would encourage that mom would surround him with people that she respects as men, and my mother and I had a conversation a long time ago, and I asked her, and it was based on a conversation that I had with a young woman that I was dating. And the young woman told me, she said, you know what? I love you, but I don't respect you.
Wow.
And I said, huh? She said, I love you, but I don't respect you. And she said, your mother probably feels the same way about you, which really hit me hard, So I'm like, what? My mama? Talking about my mama? And so a few days later, I called my mother and I said to my mom, I said, Mom, do you respect me? And of course, in my mother's southern drawl, I love you. And I said, no, that's not what I asked. I asked, do you respect? And she said, baby, just like this, she said, baby, it's kind of hard to respect you when you treat women the way you do, because you forget that your mama is a woman. And from that day on, I made a self-conscious decision that I was going to work hard to earn her respect as a man, because that really hurt me. The fact that my mother did not respect me. Now, mind you, I got this nice job working with youth field. I got a nice job. I got my own place, you know, and I wear suits and ties. And how dare you not respect me? So, you know, from that point on, I was going to earn her respect. I knew I had her love, but she had already told me that. And so that's what happens with a lot of males. We have women in our lives who love us, but they don't respect us. And truth be told, we're not really angling for their respect, because we don't even respect ourselves. So the truth be told, we don't even care if they respect us, because we don't respect ourselves. Because if we did, we wouldn't be doing 2/3 of the things that we do, 2/3 of the deeds that we actually do. We wouldn't be doing it if we had 50% of the respect that we should have for ourselves. So I say all of that to say, Rika, is that one, allow him, the young man would need to be able to find a platform where he can express those feelings. Two, surround him with men that mom respects. She needs to surround him with men that she respects. Number two, and number three, allow him the opportunity to, you know, get in tune with what's going on. Give him a platform that he can express himself. Allow him to know that, you know what, it's okay if you express yourself to me. It's all right to say, you know what, I'm kind of hurt to see dad going with dad too.
Okay, well, in addition to that, I mean, I don't know, you know, maybe we have to cover that the next time. I don't know if you can help me out with this, but what about the son who's disrespectful to his mother because he sees his mother being disrespected? So he feels like she's not respecting herself. Like, if he can do it, I can do it.
That is so common. I've seen that in my 20 years of youth field. I've probably seen that scenario every year, at least with one mom and son, every year for the last 20 years. I've seen that scenario where, you know, mom might let him smoke weed in the house because, you know, in her mind, she says, well, I'd rather him smoke in here with his friend, but he's not looking for you to be a friend. He's looking for you to be his mama, you know, and though he say he don't like when you're preaching and you ragging on him, but he actually wants it, you know. Or you have the situation where I'm not going to respect her because look how she let these dudes do it. You know, she let these guys just walk all over, do all they want, and they not even related to her. So if they can do it, why should not be able to do it? I'm her son. And so in that situation, they clearly need counseling. They clearly need to be in a room with the mediator where she can share her feelings and he can share his. But she got it the same way that she wants him to hear her. She has to be willing to hear him, you know. And so, like, I have a mom and son that I adore. And when I had her son in the program, every Saturday I would open up our building so that I could do one-on-one counseling with him. And 15 minutes, he would get to say whatever he wanted to say to her. 15 minutes, she would get to say whatever she wanted to say to him. And then I would ask him and her, did you hear what she said? Did you hear what he said? No, don't tell me, don't react. Just tell me that you heard what he said. And if the person didn't, then I would have the other person to repeat it so that that person could hear it. Listen to how you make him feel. Listen to how you make her feel. because that's a big part of the problem is that, especially in our community, there's such a disconnect between us and our feelings. We're too afraid to say, I'm feeling a certain kind of way. I'm all right. If you think about it, brothers don't ask each other how they feeling. They say, how you doing?
Mm-hmm.
How you doing? You all right? How you doing? No, how are you feeling, brother? How are you feeling, sister?
Wow. Well, and I remember growing up, because I kind of almost got to that point where I wasn't so disrespectful to my wasn't really disrespectful. I just didn't do what she said that all the time. uh, I put up this wall because I saw my mom, like you were saying, kind of lower her standards in these different situations, and it just weakened me. Like it broke down my immune system. Not that it wasn't that I didn't love her. It was I was tired of the situation, and I'm like, this is a situation that you put us in, and because I'm looking at all my brothers and sisters that my siblings, and I'm like, we don't like this situation, but we have to be here because you are mom and you want us to respect the situation that we're not enjoying, that we're not growing, and it's not working for us. And we had no other outlets. So, like you were saying, then that's where the disrespect come in, because I don't have an outlet and I don't see positive change. I feel like we're gonna be stuck in here forever. And and that attitude, that mindset start rubbing off on me, because I was tired. I was like, man, I'm tired of this. I even have a piece in my book called "I'm tired of this," because I was tired. I was tired of the drug dealers. I was tired of the prostitutes having sex in our home. I was tired of all these different things that my mom was allowing to happen, in which to me our standards were lessened, and people devalued our home and thought they can just do anything. So it really wasn't a home no more. It was just a place where people come and congregate and kind of did what they wanted to do at some point. And by the time my mom wanted to regulate something and say hey, y'all need to clean up. Well, why am I gonna clean up after them? They've been doing this, they've been doing that. They ate all the food. They cooking drugs, in our oven and on our stove. Why am I going? We gotta eat. We gotta eat with those spoons and forks and things and those pots and pans. They cook and crack in. And you want us to respect this drug dealer? You want us to respect you? And it was hard. It was hard to if I didn't have a good family in my family. Our family really pushed like love and respect for our elders. But it was if yes, I think I did the best I could. But that's when my mom put me out and I had nowhere to go. And honestly, I was glad to leave. When she put me out, I felt such a relief. I'm like, freedom, free, because I was tired. And so whoever that woman is that's dealing with whatever you're talking about, I I think from what I'm hearing is there's a level of tiredness, and if you're not used to, I mean, the son is what 15, 16 years old. If he hasn't ever really had a way to release or even have a space to talk about how I feel, then everything that kid is going to say is going to absolutely be real and straight to the point stuff, because I can't fluff around it no more. I can't give you no fluff. I got to go straight real, because I'm not feeling this and I'm not feeling you. Oh, it got quiet in here.
Hey, sometimes you just gotta listen. Sometimes you gotta sit at the feet of the elders and just take it in. That's what I just did.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, so as we digress, and I know this was awesome tonight. I'm telling you, we gave away a book earlier. I'm gonna give away a book next week, and probably in the week after, I'm gonna give away a book, because I think the book would tell moms in that particular situation the buildup, right? Because if you got all these different men coming in and out of your life, because you're trying to find love and you have children, you know, that's a you know, they want to be there to support you, but they need to see some concrete, something that's gonna work, something with a future in it, somebody that's gonna invest their time and energy in them. The older son that's 18, I think it's the same thing, and um, I think the difference is now I have opportunity to spend time with my dad, which I always wanted this. So now I'm gonna take it how I can get it, even if he is crazy, even if he's doing wrong stuff. That is my dad, and I want to be there with him and for him. And now that he's even looking my way, this is what I always wanted. So without him saying, I know that for me, if my dad would have popped up, I'd have been like, "This is my dad. I don't care if he's a drug dealer. I don't care if he a male prostitute. I don't care if he's a jailbird. This is my dad.
That's right.
I was here with you all this time. You never really talked about my dad. You know, when you talked about him, you dogged him. So now I got to see for myself. And if he was a good guy or a bad guy, then you know your child will see for itself. And I think too that when that disconnect, when you think it's really love there, a lot of love there, but I think prayer has to happen. Mother, you gotta keep praying for your child, praying for that land on your face, asking the Lord to protect them, because you don't want that. Because what I gather, the father has a negative mindset, living in, kind of got this pattern he's living in. You have to pray the protection and plead the blood of Jesus over that, so that when he's around his dad, that doesn't infect his mind. All of the things, because one thing dads have the power to do is to unlearn and undo everything mama done did if the child isn't strong enough. And that child can get around that dad and he can just start pouring into his own wisdom. He can start pouring into the things he loves and make it look good and just draw him in. And then boom, now he's really conflicted with, do I do good or bad? Or do I do it mama's way or do I do it daddy's way? Because that's what's happening now. Did I go with mama or do I go with daddy? If you will. So yes, holla at me. This is the show on holyhillsradio.com. I mean, we even live on YouTube, and we just closing, just really talking about some more elements in popping in the Rolling Stone, and kind of where some of these things come from, along with other issues in that, because you know it's a lot more into this that we don't even know. But we're here. This is pretty much here for us to share and to learn from each other and to talk about the issues for real, not just hide them. I mean, that's how we're gonna get healed, when we deal with the issues head on. And I love what you said, Mo, as we close, when you said allow the son 15 minutes to say something. I mean, that's pretty much the grief recovery thing, grief recovery handbook by John James and Russell Friedman and John James. It's called the Grief Recovery Handbook. And you give your son or your daughter that chance to say how she feels. It's bottled up. Her anger is towards you. His anger is towards you, or whatever the situation is. And you got to hear that, because how can you make adjustments if you don't know where the pain is coming from? All you're going to do is keep putting him on punishment, taking this away, taking that away. And that's going to make him more angry, more resentful. And then when he do get a chance to move on, he's not going to come back. Why do I keep going there? So again, man, we're about to close this out. Mo, I really appreciate you, man. Had a blast in New York, man. Had a blast and shout out to my people in New York and Harlem and Brooklyn and the Bronx. What was that? Long Island. Yeah. So even my people at Mad Dog TV, thank you, Jackie, for allowing me to be on the show for your season finale. And if you haven't seen that show, hey, look, you can go to my personal page, or the link is on my personal page and on my author page, and you can click the link to watch that hour episode on I Have a Dream Too. It was powerful. So if you haven't even got my book, go to deanbooks.com, and you can purchase your order of What If I Had a Father, the Man I Never Knew. So until next time, God bless you. Holla at me.